So saith the shepherd.
So saith the
flock.
Get the
Flock outta here.
Out of here. And my brother said, get the flock out of here. Welcome to the 25th episode of Born in Trouble. I'm your host, John X. See if I can get this live stream going. Why? Because we can. We'll just go ahead and start there. As I was saying, welcome to the 25th episode of Born in Trouble. I'm your host, John X, with my illustrious guest here on Turkey Week. That's right, Turkey Week. So, we'll start with, from New Jersey, Mr. Brooks with the good looks.
What's going on, man?
From Ohio, Mr. Reggie Boy.
What up, though? I steal from the City Wing King.
W&W.
Rocking the Detroit hat and everything.
W&W, Wu-Tang Forever. And of course from Detroit, Michigan, home of the world's tastiest City Wings ever created, the City Wing King himself, Mr. Grant Lancaster.
What up, though? Broadcasting live and direct from Ronkonkoma, Long Island, baby.
Ronkonkoma. Home of
On
the
soil.
Ronkonkoma.
Yeah, I'm on soil. I drove by and I saw the word Sachem. I wanted to throw an egg or something.
Good vibes.
Well, you go to what was the club on the lake there in Ronkonkoma?
I don't know the name of that club.
Yeah.
You was there.
I've never
Good
been
luck
there.
with the name.
ago. You was there.
I've never been there.
You was there because the Puerto Rican girls was there.
Never. That club had a reputation for a certain clientele after a number of years. And I have never been there.
That's right. I forget you didn't start eating white meat till your later 40s.
And unless you got some goddamn evidence, I suggest that we change the subject.
Yeah, Blue, the Subaru is not alive anymore. Can't talk.
Dude.
Wow, the Subaru.
Shampoo.
Classics.
Yes. So, fellas, how we doing tonight? You know, pre-game, you were talking about, Andree 3000's new album. How do you feel about it, Rob?
Yeah, man. I'm cool with it. It's meditation music. It's not hip hop. It's not pop music. It would probably fall into the category of new age music.
Okay.
And as that, it stands out. You know, that's where the brother's at. He's playing the flute, the whole album. Not a word on it.
Not a word on it?
Not a single word on it.
So, Grant, how do you feel about a man speaking with nothing but his flute?
I'm gonna just leave that right there. I'm not gonna touch that man and his flute. Let that man touch his own flute and do what he's doing with it.
Well. Mr. Wood, any comment? You know, you think there should be lyrics in rappers' albums?
No, I think he's like Robert was saying, he's in his space with what he honestly, man, I think a lot of this rap out here is very dishonorable. You know, and maybe we touched on this or something last week or whatever, but you know, the brothers who have traveled all around the world and are 2 and 3 lifetimes removed from the streets, and they're the original source for their lyrical content, and to try to come out here and push that on people in your mid to late 40s and into the 50s, it's really dishonorable to me.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna check out this Andree joint because I don't meditate, and I'm not a fan of that type of music. but he, shout to him for coming out with what he wanted to do.
Well, Grant, you'd probably be the closest thing to a hip hop anthropologist that we have on the show. Andree 3000, he was about the same time as Puff and Biggie and those guys, right? Around the same type of era.
Yep, same era. And I would love to hear what Andree has to say these days. But if Dre don't feel that what he has to say is worth hearing, then hey.
Now, supposedly, there's a Killer Mike track out there that's like 14 to 18 minutes long with Andree on it, and Andree is fire.
Well, that's the thing, though. Andree is always fire. You know what I'm saying? And to Wood's point, like one of my favorite MCs, Ghostface, right?
Oh my God.
Ghost is still like you said, Ghost is still rapping about the streets and selling drugs and all this kind of deal. I mean, not all the time, but enough that it's kind of uncomfortable.
You're supposed to be beyond that by now. Like you've had a chance to make some paper. You should have found a way to move past that.
And he has. But the thing is, I think as an artist on some level you get locked in. You can't make a purple tape. Once you make the purple tape, you got to continue to make things that remind people that, hey, I made the purple tape. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So Criminology, Glaciers of Ice, when you know what I mean? Like when you think of those immaculate Ghostface, Raekwon joints, if you Ghostface, you still got to touch on that because cats still kind of want to hear that from you. They want to know that you still got it.
But can you still show that you got it by talking about something else, by putting together clever couplets about something else? But can you get that published? I guess is the next question.
Well, here's the thing. What is your audience really checking for? So we talked about it before with Fonte. Fonte did an album last year, 2 years ago, that was Flames, and it was about being 50. You know what I'm saying? It was about the colonoscopy. You know what I'm saying? Like that was real shit.
Glucose.
It was about that. And the album was Flames. But I mean, it went paper. You know what I'm saying?
Only me and Grant listen to it.
Right. Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. Until 5 minutes ago, I didn't even know it was on the planet.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, it's Flames, bro. Fonte is one of the most lyrical cats out there, and when he puts product out, it's always dope. And same thing about like a 3000. You know what I'm saying? 3000 lyrically, he always gonna come with it. Mm-hmm. But if at this point in time he's choosing not to get on the mic, I gotta believe that there's a good reason for him to not get on the mic. Maybe he just don't feel it's up to par.
I think, man, I think he doesn't want to. And actually, I don't know if I wrote an article that's out. He probably can't find it, or I did a podcast about it or something. Because I know I did a video on my YouTube channel of why I couldn't have him as my GOAT rapper, because you have to put out that solo album. You really have to put out a number. You have to have a discography. And when you don't take the time, when you don't give me what the album title is to let me know kind of what the central theme is of this, these 10 to 12 songs and how you string all them together, the featured artists that you go and put on certain records, the types of songs that you put on there. When you don't do all of that and the other 50 guys have, how can I put you in the same, on the same levels as them? And then to close it out, I think it's also why we never really got an album from Jay Electronica, which was a dude that I really liked what he was talking about. But I think he didn't want to really subject himself to the scrutiny of dudes like me that's gonna go out here on a YouTube channel and talk about what he did.
Well, you know
He
what?
like, nah, I'm not giving you the ability to do that.
Well, it's good to talk about the art. You know, most of the times when we're talking about hip hop nowadays, we're talking about the art, and we're talking about the prostitution of the art, within the art, everything. Puff had his issue.
He still has his issues. That boy ain't learning, by the way. He is not learning.
No?
No, he is not learning.
Why do you say that? What's he doing?
He released some video on. He released some video. I forget what format of social media it was on, but basically it's him sort of bopping through his house, drinking champagne, singing "I'm Still Standing."
Wow.
You know, like okay, believe me, there's other people who come take your knees down, brother. If you want to declare that, there were more than enough people who are looking to take you out from the knees, but you keep bragging. You know, Russell's the only smart one.
Why do you say
Russ
that?
knew what he did. That's why because he got out the country. Russell knows what he did, but he's evolved. That's why he lives out the country now. That's why he lives in Valley now.
Yeah. He just left.
He just left.
You know,
Just stand around and wait for the cops to come and get him.
I was watching all the people celebrate and everything, and I was thinking to myself, thank God, now that they've gotten Puffy, the music business is now safe. And you can now, it's wholesome again, and your daughters can come in and they can make records without fear of anything ever happening to them, because now they got Puff.
Because they got all the bad guys now.
All the bad guys are gone.
Yeah,
they're working on them. I don't know if they got them all, but they're working on them.
You think they're working on them?
Well,
The business is
LA Reid's got to
can't
sit
get 'em
against
all.
them right now
You can't get them all.
The business is
because it's all of
predatory.
them.
Yeah, listen, I was thinking about this. The business is predatory by nature. And the people that work within that business are other predators. So they're going to protect what it is that they have. They're not going to give it away to like goody two-shoes and everything and people who just want to, make nice music and everything. Those people have to find a way within those avenues to break a piece of that off. But there's still going to be people that are having parties like that. There's going to be moms that are pushing their daughters into the business. There's going to be daughters that believe that that's what they want.
The business was always financially predatory because American capitalism is very predatory, right? Mm-hmm. But was Puffy a predator, or did Puffy get introduced to the business and get shown by his mentors that, hey, this is how you can behave once you get in and once you amass certain controls?
So I'm gonna tell you my thought. Mm-hmm. There's in the business, there's predators and prey. Prey, you always start out as prey. Mm-hmm. Big fish eat little fish. Bigger fish eat big fish. Right? At some point, you can graduate from prey to predator. And then you begin to eat. Right? But as an artist, if you are solely an artist, you are probably going to be prey for everyone.
Well,
but as soon as you begin to move into the upper echelons, you can be a predator.
Isn't that true about anything and anywhere?
Absolutely. That's capitalism, though. And to Rob's point, in capitalism, someone always has to be on the bottom. Somebody always got to be feeding the system with their blood, sweat, and tears, their hard work, and they're not going to get enough. They're not going to get the lion's share of the money is going to go to everybody else except that person.
So Puffy was just a cog in the wheel. Is just a cog in the wheel.
Right.
Have y'all caught that documentary that's on Netflix about Def Jam Russell Simmons and the Dixon lady?
Nope.
No, I haven't seen that one, but
what's that
on Netflix?
Yeah, I just saw the name of it earlier, but she like
look that up.
She like put together. Her last name is Dixon, maybe Denise Dixon or something like that. Okay. But honestly, man, I was appalled learning the culture that he oversaw at Def Jam and the predator that he was, according to these women. Man, he did the lame shit and got her up into his apartment and took advantage of her and just did some horrible shit for a dude that had access to all the women in New York, but the models and everything that he was into, and you just doing this lame creep shit. It made me really want to delete all my Def Jam shit up, from my playlist and all my little tapes and shit.
I think it's what I was thinking about is I think it's safe to say that at every company there's a guy like that's in charge. Those are the people that they put in charge at those companies. And everyone else is an enabler. You would have to really destroy the entire business and start from scratch if you wanted a moral music business. R. Kelly isn't the only one. Puff isn't the only one. Russell isn't the only one. Why all these black guys though? Where are all the white guys?
It's called On the Record.
There've been things about Clive for years. They've talked about Clive for years.
Right.
We're more concerned with what they do than what Clive does, though.
I think here's what I think. I think most crimes are crimes of opportunity. Meaning they just show up. Like you end up someplace and there's a crime that is available for you to commit. I don't think people, I would say probably 85% of the time, people just kind of happen into a crime. I don't think it's necessarily planned. I mean, of course, you kind of on that level if you're doing it. You know what I mean? Listen, but I don't think it's something that they plan out.
Everybody knows when you. Yeah, my thing, I feel you, but like everybody knows what happens in this world of music when you bring your daughter into these circumstances. You know what it's going to be. It's never going to change.
But that's in the world of world. That's not just in the world of music. That's in the world of
everywhere.
World.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And it's not just your daughter. You think
your son too?
Yeah. You think like a Tevin Campbell. You know what I mean? Came in the business young.
They spun him around.
Yeah, like a Jaden Smith. Even with his parents. You see what I'm saying? I mean, came in the business just young. You think it wasn't some opportunity for somebody to turn them kids out?
That's the thing. Like I said, y'all check out that On the Record is the name of the documentary, but you check it out and you just now. I mean, and this is their story. This is it's three women in there that tell their story.
I'll go on the record and say I believe the women. I believe the story.
Yeah, I mean, you just said the man moved to Bali. He didn't lead his country for nothing. So, like I said, watching it, I couldn't help but be appalled at how this brother was. It was intentional. It was predatory or whatever.
But he was a street dude. Like to some degree, we expect more of him, but he was a street dude. He was a hustler.
Like the dude that was coming up at the end of Def Jam talking about God bless you and good night. Like all of that just that documentary just destroyed all of that. With the rush card and prison sentences reform and all of that, it was like this dude a monster.
Listen, but is he allowed to evolve? Like, is he allowed to start someplace, learn better, and then do better?
Yes and no.
Yes and no. Like yes is that you are allowed to, but two, you should probably take some responsibility for your past actions or some accountability for your past actions.
Right. But taking that responsibility in this day and time means you are vilified for them, and they attempt to crucify you publicly. That's what that means in this culture, right? So if whatever you did, and I mean, we've all done dirt on some level, you know what I mean? Maybe not to several women, but we all probably have a woman in our past that we did something dirty to. And if we had that kind of bread and she came out and said, yo, John Exum did this to me, Rob Brooks did this to me, you see what I'm saying? Like it's easy to come out and say that, but I and even if I was like, baby, I was that's 35 years ago. I was 18 when that happened, or I was 25 when that happened, or I was 30 when that happened. You see what I'm saying? I mean, that's 20 years ago. Fucking 2 decades.
He was 47 when that happened.
That's what's so bad. I think about Russell was like he had to have been in his mid 40s when this was going on. I think. But he had daughters. And like I said, I'm not trying.
Well, I mean, go ahead, finish. But that's one of the great conundrums of our society. Like, everybody likes to talk about being a girl dad and then goes out and, treats the mom like shit and, disrespects women everywhere they go, hoping at some point that, that their daughter will find somebody nice, and respectful. But they can't even be that.
So I think it's a mistake to what we have a tendency to do is expect a certain age to equal a certain maturity. And those two things don't necessarily go together. You see what I'm saying? I could be 70 years old and still be an immature motherfucker.
Oh, and right? Especially with the life that those people are leading. Like, right. As long as you show up on time and rap, you good. What you do after that, what you do in between that, nobody cares about. And you're on a bus with 20 other motherfuckers and all the drinking, weed, and whatever else you want. You're probably not, like I always say about baseball players, that's the world that I'm most familiar with, is that you draft these kids at 18 out of high school, and then you put them on a bus with 25 other 18 and 19-year-olds and 3 adults. And you judge them on how well they hit, pitch, throw, and that's it. That's not really the way that you develop like healthy, mature, respectful adults. You grow man children that way.
Facts.
And that's what these guys are on tour. They have access to everything. The only thing they have to do mature is show up on stage on time. After that, everything else is handled by someone else.
Let me ask you a question about Cassie. She's a young girl, naive, ends up with a much older man. Did she expect any of this? Is she responsible for at least choosing poorly? Selling out? Maybe she thought it was a shorter path. Because generally what happens with a lot of these people, it's not, I don't want to blame the victim. The whole point is about how does the victim end up in that position in the first place? To be a victim. And usually it's because of proximity. People want to get in close proximity. And there are things that happen and things that they sacrifice or things that they decide to do or not do to gain that proximity. How do you
but you're talking about like a 37-year-old dude with a 19-year-old girl, right?
Oh no, he's fucked up.
You can manipulate that mind in so many ways. Like, you could take a 19-year-old and spin her head so many times around that she don't know what fucking way she's looking at. Like, so I'm not, yeah, she's an art. First of all, she's a quote unquote artist, so she's gonna be vulnerable. And he can spin it. This is the world you want to be in. You want to be a grown up. You want to be a kid. All that shit. You start dropping all that shit on her, and all of a sudden she's in over her head. She's looking at these older people, thinking that they're gonna show her the way in, show her the proper way to do things, and they're really self-interested.
I mean, look at Irv and Ashanti.
Ashanti.
That's a real good one. He's very disrespectful.
He's still mad.
He's like, he can't get over it.
Like, he should leave. It's love. Obviously, Nelly and her is love.
He thought he had love too.
He thought wrong.
He found love on a two-way street.
Say it, Stacey.
Hey, that's right. Stacey Lattisaw.
Yeah, man.
So, fellas, y'all watching what's going on in the rest of this world, this crazy, crazy world. I don't even think it's like worth mentioning like the Israeli-Palestine thing, because there's no longer a Palestine, it's just Israel. Israel has pretty much made the announcement.
I was just trying to care about that earlier today. And I didn't do well.
Didn't get there. Couldn't quite get up the lather.
Nope. I was trying.
I probably did worse than Grant, to be honest.
It's a wrap. I just watch as an observer. Like, honestly. Like, do it to them, they'll do it to you too. Better believe that.
That's a fact.
It's crazy.
I think it's so much. It's like stuff is being held together by the thinnest of threads here. Like Grant said, I don't know when the shoe is gonna fall here for me to be taking my eye off the ball here to pay attention to what they have going on. I just haven't really been able to do it.
Is Donald Trump going to be president again? Because if so, I think it's a wrap.
Man, I was just watching Rob Reiner was on the show talking about Joe Biden, and they were showing some clips of Saturday Night Live going hard on Joe Biden. Man, we in trouble, dude.
We in trouble.
In terms of president.
Either way.
And Biden may just be a mistake. And this was Rob Reiner was saying that Joe Biden is just a guy that makes mistakes, like in public. You know what I mean? Like, but in terms of pushing the button and things that are important for the presidency, that's like where he excels. And that could be true. But I like I said, I just think we're in trouble.
Biden strikes me as the kind of dude who, even if he makes those mistakes in larger areas, I think he would defer to the room. Like, I don't think he's a guy who's going to stand up in the middle of the room about to make a wholesale mistake, like a full-on red flag, and be like, I'm the president, goddammit, and we're doing this. Down. Whereas the other dude is tripling, quadrupling, whatever it takes. Y'all gonna listen to me, goddammit, and we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
Because I said so. Like, Joe Biden doesn't strike me as that kind of dude. He just wanted the office. I don't care. I think he's one of those dudes like, yo, y'all can make me president and tell me what to do. I just want to be that guy. I've been dreaming about this so long, man. Let me taste it.
Just let me taste it.
It's kind of like there was a story long ago, John, and we won't say any names, but there's a young woman who was so beautiful in our high school that everybody wanted to touch her. And so this one person made his pitch, and she said, okay, I'll let you if you let me throw on a strap on and hit you first. And I guess he did the mental calculation and said, okay. Like, he just wanted to be around it that bad. Like, he wasn't worried about what the cost was, as long as he got his hands on it, as long as he got to smell it. And Joe Biden might be that dude. Like, yo, just let me in. I don't care what else happens. Just let me in.
Yeah.
Like, what? Joe, I'll get him. Yo, believe me. I mean, that guy, think about it. Joe Biden was the vice president to the first black president. Like, everybody else every other politician on earth was like, ain't no way in hell I'm playing second fiddle to no nigga. And Joe Biden was like, sign me up.
True.
Reg,
you make a salient point, sir.
Reg, what do you have to say, bro? Reg?
I mean, man, I really don't know, and I don't have nothing to go on, but I really don't know if I believe that there's a large voting block. I don't really know if there's a large number of people that are going to go out and press the button for that. I don't know if anybody really is motivated enough to actually show up for him to give him a chance.
Here's the thing. To me,
you talking about Biden?
No.
Go vote for Biden. Right?
No, I don't think there's enough energy in folks in enough folks to go out and cast their vote for Trump.
Ooh.
There's enough energy. There is more than enough energy.
I don't really think so, man. It was when he came on the scene, was it 2016 or whatever? It was dudes in my office in corners, hushed corners, chatting and talking, and there was some energy there. Ain't none of that happening no more. You know, they don't even really acknowledge politics no more.
They will be out there because, you know, they think he's coming for your guns. They think their country has been taken away from them.
That's a talking point anymore.
They want the money.
I think
I had dinner with a good friend last night, and he's reached the point where he's like, hey, look, I'd rather somebody else be the nominee, but the Democrats are screwing the country. They're letting all these immigrants and stuff in. They're ruining this thing. So he's flipping that lever.
What does Trump have to stand on that he did in his 4 years in that area, though? Like,
he doesn't have anything to stand on. It doesn't matter. It was always a cult of personality. What did he have to stand on in the beginning? Like, he ran because he was a highly successful businessman. He could get stuff done. But if you looked at his actual business record, he was a guy who lawyered up, broke contracts, lawyered up, and dared you to sue him. Yeah. Like, look, okay, you finished the job. I'm going to pay you 30 cents on the dollar. If you don't like it, sue me. Yep. That's how he built his business empire. That, you know, $1 million loan from his daddy.
He won that election because of The Apprentice, in my opinion.
He won that election because we were coming off a black president. And there were, I've always said, there were millions of white dudes who wake up every day thinking, I could never be president. And this MFing, you know, dude wasn't even born in this country is president. That's some bullshit right there. And we got to get our country back.
Yeah. Well, my thought process along this line is that I think that Trump people have a problem believing that enough people voted for Joe Biden the first time. But they don't realize that they weren't voting for Joe Biden as much as they were voting against Trump. I think the problem is going to be that I don't think there are enough people that are going to go out and vote against Trump. like they did 4 years ago because apathy is set in.
Trump had 76 million people vote for him the last time.
Yeah.
I don't think he gets that many this time. I really don't.
I think apathy is going to set in, and he doesn't even need that many.
When it actually calls for people to go get in their car, show up, stand in line, and go through with it, I don't really see that energy being there.
They need to get rid of Joe Biden. Is really what they need to do. They need to run.
That ain't gonna happen though.
It's not gonna happen. And the Republicans need to run somebody other than the circus clowns that they got running now, and Donald Trump. You know, they need 2 new candidates to go in there and fight it out. But it's going to be the same shit. So
let me ask you this, though. If he had this momentum, why isn't none of these candidates that he's backing, why aren't none of them being successful in their bids? Like, we going on 2 or 3 election cycles now where his name isn't getting isn't getting candidates over the finish line anymore. Well, so how many times we got to see it happen before we believe that he's not mobilizing nobody? I don't see it happen.
Well,
you have a point with that, but I just see the number of people sort of voting anti-Biden.
Then you got these young people all charged up and women charged up with this abortion shit. You didn't win and stoke that crowd up, and now they're mobilized. So I ain't no pollster or nothing. So I could be wrong, but I really just he's not.
Women for the most part don't vote abortion. You know, there's too many of them that vote for candidates that are anti-abortion to even bring that into. It's like that's like kind of like a fundraising piece, but it's not an actual piece if you really look at it, because otherwise, how are all these anti-abortion senators and congressmen representing all these districts?
True.
You know, it's like that. Our whole world is kind of like it's going through a series of unravelings right now because there's so many different dichotomies. You know, you look at what's happening with the genocide and people who were once held up against the genocide, and the fact you can't talk about any of it in like a regular way without facing backlash, getting your name written down on a list and everything. The way that the messages are being controlled. They're getting Puff out of there.
I think Biden might be able to slide through on this second one just because, and then after that, the thought will be that we can finally move the fuck on and get into this new day that we waiting on, and the Republicans will have moved into a new era, fully believing that simple shit ain't gonna work no more, and they got to do something new, and they'll do that. But again, like I said, we're 2 to 4 election cycles in this with his movement losing steam. You don't even see nobody standing out here protesting none of these cases and shit. And ain't nobody shot up no shit, ran down, went to bash through doors and shit. Like, people are tired of that bullshit.
Yeah, let me tell you something. All they need is one term, because the reason why Trump is so popular with Republicans is that they stole the court. And the court supersedes most elections. because their terms are forever.
That's Mitch McConnell.
Huh?
Mitch McConnell was playing chess while everybody else was playing checkers. That crazy old motherfucker. There's a special spot in hell for him.
Yeah, they have. All they have to do is they don't write any legislation. All they have to do is wait until they get power, write the legislation. It'll pass all the way through, and nobody will fight it. And that's it. All it takes.
I mean, that's really what that was about. I mean, they obstructed for 8 years. They blocked judges being sat, and then as soon as Trump got in, boom, started pushing them through, seeding the court with dark conservatives. You know, not just conservatives, but deep, dark conservatives.
Yep.
You know, and it's amazing how even at the court level, they found all these anti-intellectuals to put on the bench. Like, really? Hey, how do you find why do you see judges who are not intellectual, who aren't willing to look at concepts?
It's insidious.
But it's not. The reason is they don't care about ideas. They care about control.
Right. There's an agenda out there that they following.
That they're all following.
Yeah, and I'm even more cynical. I think the agenda is across both parties.
That's exactly what I'm referring to. But please
Yeah,
expand.
Yeah, I don't think there's any difference. I think it's the shell game. You know what I'm saying? Like they working in concert. It's just okay. You know, it's you say this, I'll say this. You say this, I'll say this. Mm-hmm. You know, and you know somebody's gonna win this election, and then boom, this is the way we got to move the needle, regardless.
Yep.
I think that, and you know, I could be dead wrong about this, could be naivete, but I think the Democrats, for the most part, are interested in at least some small safety net for people. Like, I think that they, as a party, understand that, like, look, you can't just keep pushing growth because people get left behind, and if you leave people too far behind, you leave them to their own devices. Like, the bad thing about capitalism, the unsaid thing about capitalism is that whatever is profitable is cool. That means that if you think busting into a Walgreens and emptying the shelves is cool, as long as you're okay with the consequences, that's capitalism. Mm-hmm. You know, that's that's built into capitalism. And the Democrats understand that, like, you can't put all of them in prison. You can't imprison them all. You'd like to because prisons are profitable, but you can't. So you have to come up with some social safety nets.
I think the biggest failing of the two-party system is very simply the fact that it doesn't allow for common sense to ever win or carry the day, especially not now, because everyone is in their corners. They're paid for by X, Y, or Z. Like, for example, something controversial like border politics. To me, it's obvious that there needs to be something done with the border. This country is not sustainable. It's not sustainable for all of these people coming into this country.
But here's the thing. Who are the senators going to hire to clean their houses and work in their factories if they don't have a porous border?
Well, here's the thing.
The immigrants do the jobs that Americans won't.
Well, here's the thing. It's time to fix all that. It's the tough decisions. It's time to fix all that because, you know, Americans not wanting to do it, that's not sustainable. How about we get them back to work, but we also get them housing at the same time? It used
but
to
now
work
you're
that
messing
way.
with you're messing with my passive income now. That's not.
Your passive income.
You know, you're messing with my real estate investment trust's ability to deliver my dividend.
Listen, the
Be
cushions
messing with my dividends, Holmes.
The cushions that exist, they're always going to exist. You know, if with deflation, then the cost of things go down as well. It's not as if you're taking these people that are up on the top and you're dropping them to the bottom. You're just basically putting more back into the pie and everything, but the people aren't coming up on them. Nobody's going to be able to come up on them. That's why I think it's so stupid. It's like time for them. They're really at the rich people in this country. They're at no threat whatsoever of ever coming back down to this level again, unless they're absolutely positively stupid and just give all their money away. It's impossible because it's the things. Real estate is still the thing that holds most of the value. Gold holds most of the value. Everything else is just play and pretend.
Right, but in this economy, that pretend has a lot of value too. You know, I mean, so Uber don't own a car. Airbnb doesn't own a property. Yet somehow
there's $1 billion companies.
Right.
Right.
So there's money in not having, just like there's money in these imaginary assets too.
Well, that's the whole Jack Welch model. I mean, everybody, applauded Jack Welch back in the 80s when he was running GE. But what did he do to GE? He got him out of manufacturing and he got him into the financial sector.
Right.
And
because he realized it was cheaper. It was more profitable to loan you the money to buy a refrigerator than it was to sell you the refrigerator.
Well, that trend has to reverse now.
But you can't bring the genie back in the bottle. Those jobs aren't coming back. As Dave Chappelle says, why do you want that to come in reverse? Do you want a refrigerator to be $5,000?
Well, okay, but you know what? You can reverse engineer the systems that you have. For example, you said that Uber doesn't own a car, and what was the other company?
Airbnb.
They don't own any homes, right? So what we're not doing with the Uber drivers, for example, is we're not empowering them enough to actually work a 40-hour work week and still be able to live. So that company that doesn't own anything can take less money, and more money can go back into the pocket of the person who's actually doing the work. It's not as if you're getting rid of them completely, but they already have low overhead because most of their systems are run by computers.
But that's the whole trick to the gig economy, though. That gig economy model is designed to make you think as the person that's driving that Uber, right? It's designed
to make your own schedule.
That you have a business. That's what it's designed to do. It's to make you believe that you have a business when you don't.
So we have to. No, that's true.
Seriously.
But you know what? No, that's true. But the point of it is not the business. The point of what's strangling people is basically the cost of rent, the cost of housing. So these are the things that we need to get under control in the United States. And you bring one up, you bring the other down, and with a couple of other factors, you make it work again.
How do you do that? How do you do that? People routinely vote against the quote-unquote death tax, right?
Okay.
People don't want to pay the estate tax. They're against that. But the fact is, 95% of the people are never going to pay the estate tax because they don't own shit.
Right.
Right.
But part of the American hustle is you could possibly become one of those people one day, and when you become that person, you don't want this to happen to you. People routinely vote against their best self-interest.
They protect the rich.
Because they bought the dream.
They protect the rich.
They protect the rich because they dream that they could become one day.
They dream of being rich.
And my conversation is basically coming along the lines of socialism. Democratic socialism.
Once somebody tags you as a socialist, your candidacy is taking a big bullet. You are basically to do the rest of your campaign on crutches, metaphorically.
But can this economy deal with a little bit of socialism? What about socialism used to be known as ethics and fair play, by the way, and living wage jobs, salaries, living wage salaries. That's it. Now it's called what? Socialism?
Hey, man, walk around. Ask somebody about unions. Ask people who aren't in unions about unions. They'll tell you that they're evil.
Yeah,
Even though all unions are trying to do is protect wages for American workers.
See, what triggers me is TikTok. Okay? I look on TikTok and I hear this person, like, who's about the same age as my kids, saying, yo, how the fuck am I ever going to own a home in my lifetime? It's literally mathematically impossible.
It's a legit question.
That's been a legit question, though. So that's one of the reasons why. So Detroit is one of the few places that home ownership has been feasible for the past few years. In a lot of places, home ownership is not even a thing that is possible. But in Detroit, it was very possible. So once you when you get it out there, what we damn, I lost my train of thought.
What you experience is people like looking to move into the area. Would that be it?
Right. You can't. So, like I said, it's not something that's feasible in most places. So, in Detroit, people from all over the place was buying property, but they were buying it because Detroit was one of the last places where home ownership was a real thing. Like you could earn $40,000 a year and be able to buy a house. You can't earn. It's hard to earn $40,000 in New York and buy a house. California, Florida, right? You see what I'm saying? But in Detroit, it was a place that it was still actually possible. But now, even in Detroit, we're getting away from that because so many people from outside have come in and bought up property in Detroit.
And then also corporations come in when they find spots like that, and they start buying in there as well.
Oh yeah, right. And they'll just sit on them.
Yeah,
exactly. They'll just sit on them until the developers are ready to come in and do a master plan. Like, okay, we got these 5 blocks. Here's what we're gonna do, and then everybody jumps on board and start. But they'll sit on the property for 10, 15 years, just pay the taxes because they can.
I really feel like the actual masters and owners of this country are terraforming all of this stuff and changing all of this, like the way that we have life. We're like kind of the last generation that knows everything about how everything was. And once we go, there's not going to be any more witnesses. It's just going to be how it is. I think that's kind of sad. But I can't ask other people to fight for. I can't ask other people to fight for a way of life they're not familiar with. Go ahead, Reg.
That's just what my takeaway from this whole thing is. Like, you can have all this money and control everything, but you got to be uncomfortable with coming to the realization that you no longer know how to extract cash from large groups of people. When these people no longer commit to anything, they don't value owning a car. They don't value owning a house. They're not trying to be married. All they want to get everything for free. So how do you, when you've been sitting here for centuries, figuring out how to get these people to gather in large, 110,000 people going to this Michigan game Saturday. But that's people moving away from that shit. So when all of these things, the traditional ways of extracting this cash are going to be increasingly difficult to control. Like, why do you go out here and invest in $1 billion factory to make these vehicles, and these new, the consumers of tomorrow, they don't want to own shit. Well, hold the plan up on that. Hold the plan up on that facility.
But I would say that's part of the plan, because they don't want you to necessarily own shit.
Say again?
Right? They don't want you to own a house. They want you to rent. They don't want you to own. Right? And even as a homeowner, you never truly own,
Nah, that's
because because you still got to pay taxes on that house.
Right.
So if maybe and that's just part of the game.
If the family didn't pass you down some shit, you spending that 30 years, 40 years paying on the shit.
Right. And I mean, there's people buying cars just to be an Uber driver, just to be a Lyft driver.
Yeah.
Because in their mind, that gig job is going to pay for the car.
Going to pay for the car. I know dudes who drive BMWs for just that reason. Like, I'm doing some Uber driving. And so, he wants to be a little upscale, but it also allows him to get his dream car at the same time. Dream car becomes an anvil tied around your neck.
Right. Yeah, it's
this scam shit. It's gonna be amazing what the end game is with this shit.
Where are we gonna be to watch it?
I'm gonna be on a beach in South America.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you there.
That's where are you gonna be?
I don't know, man. I'm washed. Exactly.
At least go someplace where you can golf 10 months out of the year, brother. Come on,
man.
Get outside a little bit, socialize. Get someplace where you can, still have an active social life in January and February.
Man, shit, I'm gonna break down and take up hunting, man. I'm gonna figure this shit out with all of my colleagues that do that shit.
All right.
Do you know what? I saw a thing today. There was a Ukrainian sniper who hit somebody, supposedly the longest recorded kill from like 3.2 miles. It was in the New York Post today.
Jesus Christ.
3.2 miles, over 40 football fields away. He took out 2 targets. I don't necessarily want to hunt, but I wouldn't know how to shoot like that.
Right. Yeah.
I guess when you fuck around with somebody's homeland, you'll acquire or develop some skills like that.
In case of the apocalypse. Woo! One in trouble.
Yeah, the big property, house in the middle of it, a little turret on top.
Look, I'm running. I go to run Sunday. I go to run at the Metro Park, and I get off I went to go do some new shit, some new trails, and get on some shit that didn't look like the shit that was on the board when I got on the trail. But I don't know no better. But I get over this hill, and I get about 1.5 miles down the road and come over this little hill, and it's a huge ass pool of blood.
Ooh. And
I'm like, man, this is a great indicator that I have no fucking business being out here in this shit. Because that's either a human being that, something didn't really went wrong, and I'm 2 miles away from my car, and I ain't no fast jogger anyway, and adrenaline is only gonna do so much. Or it's some motherfuckers out here hunting while I'm out here trying to get my exercise in without some orange shit on.
Right.
So it was very, and then I get down another 100 yards, and it's some more puddles of, larger puddles of blood. And I was too stupid to just head my ass back towards my car very quickly and not even see. It was almost like some Southern, what was that movie, Southern Comfort or Southern Hospital? Was it Southern Comfort with the soldiers?
Luckily, you didn't do like this.
You're right.
If you'd have done like this, you'd have found out.
I come out on the other. I come out on the other end where I knew it was another parking lot at this end of this trail, but it's a couple of white cats up there with the hunting shit on, and they got the deer down on the ground and whatnot. And I'm like, I ain't trying to make no eye contact with y'all. I didn't know you could hunt on this shit. I thought you had to go out to the real woods. I don't want to know none of y'all. And I really was like, I would hate for them to go back to the parking. They got to know I'm at the other parking lot. and somebody go get my tags and shit, I really didn't know if I was gonna make it home from this run Sunday morning. It was a pretty adventurous morning.
Like they quickly were like, "Holy shit, this got better. We ain't deer hunting now. We coon hunting."
Right. Yeah. Surviving the game.
And on that note, 25th episode from Ohio, Mr. Reggie Woods.
Yo, see, you know what the real message of that is? That get your ass into church, and you won't have to worry about becoming prey.
The bloody trails. The only blood in church is the blood of Christ, says Mr. Brooks.
Who ain't been to church in a very long time, and don't expect to find me there anytime soon.
If you hear of any fires at any churches, Rob just walked in. And of course,
believe
from
it.
Detroit, Michigan, home of City Wings.
2896 West Grand Boulevard, Detroit, Michigan. Come down and get you some.
Come get you some wings, Mr. Boy.
Y'all got me jealous, though. Y'all gonna be looking up. Y'all were both on the island.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
We catch up in a day or so.
Get that time in.
Yep. Reggie's in Ohio.
Yeah, you can bring Grant one of your turkey sandwiches. You can bring him some of those Thanksgiving leftovers. You can make a little plate.
I'm gonna have a whole bunch of Thanksgiving leftovers. That's gonna be like a week's worth of food. We got our turkey. Had to work for it. BJ's app. You know what I'm saying? Calling people on the phone.
Oh yeah.
You know. Got it in there though. Got it in. I make a good bird. I don't know about the rest of y'all. But I make a good bird.
You know I don't make no bird.
Yeah, I make a decent turkey.
I used to. Ain't no more.
I'm gonna be getting down as usual. Reg, you cooking or the wife does the bird?
We going to the in-laws, man. I'm gonna keep riding that till the wheels fall off.
Nice and easy. I feel you. Well, everybody have
a long trip or? That a long trip to the in-laws, or they close by?
Less than about 5 minutes.
Oh, that's as good as it gets, man.
Oh yeah, you gotta be on your P's and Q's at all times, huh?
When we were talking last week, we thought you were married. We didn't know you were married.
Right. Yeah.
Messed around and had a chance. We moved a couple about 5 years ago, and we were about 30 seconds away from them before at the old house. Now we did added about 4.5 minutes to it.
That's great. Eyes everywhere.
So we didn't get too far away.
Well, we know every day is a family day for Mr. Reggie Wood. Blessings. And everybody, no matter what you feel about this holiday, it's a day off. We all get to spend time with our families. That's the tradition that's the most important part. And that's it. Thanks for listening. Get with y'all next time. Peace.